MetalNationRadio.com.
And he'd do his own. They were a really good band, really. Perhaps I didn't appreciate it at the time. I got pissed off with them. I mean, they go, the new American thing was, hey man, what's happening? I'm going, I'm getting on the fucking plane, you daft bastard, you know what I mean? What's happening? I mean, we're from Birmingham, we can understand that, what's happening.
Yeah.
And you think, what the fuck, is he drunk or what? It's time of day, What's happening? We're getting on the plane.
The buzzword of the moment.
And Tony go, we've got to get different flights. We can't get on the same. I mean, they were around signing autographs and nobody wanted to sign. Nobody wanted Sabbath's autographs at this stage. And their album was going platinum. And we'd sold dick, we hadn't sold nothing really. Well, that's the truth. That's another story further down the line, that one is as well, by the way. So that was it really. And then, Ozzy was a bit pissed off because, it was just new wave music to us, and we never thought it was gonna take off. But until 5 or 6 weeks into the tour, And then when Bill left the band, we give them the best opportunity of a lifetime. They had to play 2 shows because we hadn't got a drummer. Thinking about it now, what we should have done was use their drummer for our show.
What, use Alex Van Halen?
Yeah, that's what we should have done.
Maybe you should have done that.
Yeah, it probably would have been better. But we didn't do the show. We just let them do 2 shows.
So how was your relationship at that point with the rest of the band? You mentioned a few minutes ago you were very tight with Tony, but you didn't really have much to do with the other guys.
Oh, we did. I did, yeah, really. I mean, Bill was such a nice guy. Bit mixed up,
All drummers are.
Yeah, well, it's the sound, it's the noise. I mean, look at my nipper.
Yeah.
Geezer was in a world of his own. Geezer was different to anybody I've ever met, I mean, he used to share a room next door to me. Not share a room, he'd be in the room next to me.
Yeah.
And it was like, you can imagine the heaviest band in the world. And you'd listen all fucking morning. You'd hear 3 times the lady. It was doing me head in, you know what I mean? 3 times the lady.
So he'd listen to the Commodores during the day.
That's right, because he was in love at that time,
Yeah.
That's because it was 3 times the lady. I know that inside out, that song now, I could do a karaoke version of that really. If you drop me to the order.
I might hold you to that, Paul.
Okay. And Bill was you stayed away from Bill really, because you'd end up. Tony used to say to me, don't get involved with Ozzy and Bill, stay away. And
were they the wild guys of the band?
Well, no, they went on the road in a motorhome. They had a 6-wheel motorhome, 3-axle thing,
Is that across the States?
Yeah, in the States. And Bill was like a CB fanatic, you know what I mean? And everything. When you had a conversation with him, what he did, any press or anything like that.
This was way before mobile phones, of course. CB, for the younger people that are probably listening to this interview, Citizens Band Radio was like a handheld radio thing that people used to communicate with across the length and breadth of larger countries like the United States. And so he was really into that, was he? Totally
into it. In fact, the truckers used to get pissed off with him. And don't forget, they're all armed over there. If ever they could have got hold of Bill. Now, I've got a 10-4 on the, what's out there at the moment, darkness. You know what I mean? The truckers go, what the fuck do you think's out there? That's the way he'd drive everybody nuts on the CB. And he'd sit there, and his brother drove him everywhere, who was like, never mind. But Bill was next to him on the CB all night. He drove him nuts. Then you'd have Ozzy sitting in the toilet, writing, lyrics. Fuck knows if they were ever used, we don't know. But he'd sit there writing songs, in the toilet. That, actually they never used the stuff, I don't think. But and then the toilet was always full, and I used to go and pay them their per diems, when they were at the gig. Where's Bill? Jim, that was his brother. Ozzy and having a sleep in there. He said, I think they just woke up actually. I said, I'll go and pay them the per diems and some money. Yeah, okay. And I went down there one day. The smell was so bad. It was so bad. I couldn't even pay him. I had to leave. I went back to Jim. I said, and I knew Ozzy was bad. He got a bad throat.
Yeah.
I went, Jim, what the fuck is that smell in the toilet? So, is it, what have you put down the toilet? He went, we can't get it emptied. I said, are you nuts? He can't sing because his voice is gone, and it's all because of the toilet being blocked up. Is that what you're telling me? Is that where he's got his bad throat from? It must be. So I said, you need to empty that toilet. He said, I said, before you get any money now, go and empty that toilet. Anyway, he come back an hour later and still couldn't find the fucking toilet to empty it, So anyway, I had to give them the money, and off they went after the gig on the night. The next day, they were late getting back, in the afternoon for sound check. And eventually they turned up about 5:45. Where you been, Jim? You're not going to believe what's happened. Well, we got to the place, to the truck stop, and they were empty. We were emptying the trolley, emptying the toilet. Nothing would come out. He said, and what we did, Bill got underneath. Bill got underneath, and he's got a coat hanger. He's got a coat hanger up there. He said, and him and Ozzy are dealing with it, because they said I didn't know what I was doing, so they dealt with it. Ozzy's pressing the button to release, the toilet, and Bill's there lying down underneath the thing at the back with a coat hanger. It's completely blocked up, He's got all these wired coat hangers together, and he's just jabbing it in and out of them. And this is what Jim said anyway. So anyway, the next thing, he's going, okay, Oz, press it. So Ozzy's pressing some release button, I don't know what it was. And then all of a sudden, poof, out it comes, all over Bill.
Oh my goodness.
And me and you have been coughing and diving out from underneath there, And all they hear from Bill is yeah, I got a 10-4 on that, Ozzy. And he said Bill was covered in shit. He said, so I had to go and hire a room. He said, I had to go and hire a room because we had no water. He said, I went to the motel, hired a room, opened the window, and they climbed in through the window. He says, and that's how we got rid of the shit off Bill. He was covered in it.
Horrendous.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you couldn't leave them on the road together. Him and Ozzy, they were we'd sit and don't forget, we used to stay at high Regencies.
Yeah.
Hotels. And we'd be staying there, and Tony would be down there for lunch, and because we'd flown in, they were on the road, so we'd flown in, and Tony would go, let's go quick. It's Bill and Ozzy. Let's go. And we'd have to leave because we didn't want them. I mean, they looked like vagrants because they'd been living this rough life on the motorhome. The motorhome never smelt right anyway.
So why did they choose to go on the road, and obviously Tony and...
Because Bill was scared of flying. He had a thing about flying. He was always, and he was just so bad when we flew, he would cause that many problems on a plane. And he had a thing about first class and coach.
Yeah.
He'd say, look, I've been brought up in King's Standing, I only know one way to travel, and that's like normal people. I'm not going first class. And so he'd get first class, he'd get in coach, and he'd just get pissed. An instance, we were on a flight from on Pan Am, I'll never forget it. And we're sitting there, and because we're with the band, they said, come and see Bill. We'd stuck for ages before it was an hour late taking off. And then eventually they give Bill some booze. And his brother came, he said, come and have a word with Bill, Jim said. So I said, okay. So I went down. So I was in first class, so I went down, and I said, you go up there, I'll look after Bill. So Bill's now getting really loud. And I got pictures of this, by the way, of all these these Scotch bottles on the tables in front of us. And the only way you could get any words out of him was if you had a drink with him.
Yeah.
So me and him would Bill's gone, that engine's fucked, brother. I went, Bill, it's not even running, trust me, don't be daft. I said, calm down. He said, I'm telling you now, that engine's fucked. And he said, he's shouting and everything. And I'm going, Bill, shut up, you're frightening people on the plane, we're going to get thrown off. I'm telling you now, that engine's fucked. So eventually we take off, right? So then we've had to take all the bottles and shove them in the front and there. And off we go. We're now flying over the Rockies. And we've got our Scotch bottles back out there, and we're now over the Rockies. Suddenly there's a big bang and a flash. And the fucking engine blew.
Wow.
The engine blew on the right-hand side of the plane that we were sitting. And Bill's going, we're going down! Can you imagine? Everybody was screaming. And the pilot, come on the intercom, and he's telling us, and it's going to be okay, blah, blah. We're going to restart the engine in a minute. We're going to try and restart it. If not, we're going to, I don't know where it was, Denver. We're going to land in Denver or something. We're going down. That's all Bill was shouting, And, oh, God, it was terrible. And anyway, he did restart the engine. And we flew all the way back to it.
It's no surprise really why he was frightened of flying. If something like that happens.
No, but we were on there. I can't think it was Johnny Cash or whatever it was. His niece was on the plane. We're in first class at this stage, and Bill's the seat just behind first class. And Bill's usually he's swearing and cussing away because he's on a plane,
Yeah.
And this little kid who was bemused with Bill because of his beard, and said she was talking. He was swearing, and this little girl said, my daddy would wash my mouth out with soap if I swore like that. So Bill's just looked at her, and he never said fuck all at all. He just got up, fucked off. And he comes back, He's got a bar of soap in his mouth. He's chewing a bar of soap. And he swallowed the bar of soap.
Oh my goodness.
In front of the kid. I mean, that's what he was like. He was like...
Nuts.
Yeah. I mean, I love the guy to this day. He's a really... Out of all of them, he's such a lovely guy.
United we rock. Metal Nation Radio.